That was a useful trip, he would say when she came back. Or, your digestion's important too, you know. A dog was barking furiously in the street, just outside the window, and excited voices called. When you're really pressed for time, there's an art in making each second count. You merely fit each thing you've got to do into the right bit of time. A girl appeared with a plate of bread. Mantequilla? He asked her. She stared at him, shrugged her shoulders, and said she would go and see. He called after her to bring another cup of coffee and glanced at the clock. 12 minutes to 7. There was the sound of heel taps behind him, approaching quickly from the hall. Mrs. Slade was at the table before he could put down his cup and turn. There was an expression of amused preoccupation on her face as she seated herself. Terribly funny, she said, more to herself than to him, and then she sipped her coffee while he waited for an explanation. The girl returned without the butter, but with 2 plates of ham and eggs. Before he began to eat, he said, "What?" Mrs. Slade seemed not to have heard him, and plunged into her food with gusto. 2. The dock was at the end of the street. From there they could see the ship, huge and unmoving in the center of the circular bay. A motor launch with a green canopy crossed and recrossed the bright water between the dock and the vessel while they stood waiting to get into the customs shed. "It's going to be a nice day after all," Dr. Slade announced with satisfaction. That fog was just decoration. He set his briefcase down so that it leaned against his leg. "It'd be just like them to pull up the anchor and start off while we stand here waiting," Mrs. Slade said grimly. Dr. Slade laughed. Had such a thing really happened, he would have minded it even more than she, but in his experience, the world was a rational place. "I only hope they can make frozen daiquiris," he said. It was a remark which might momentarily set her mind at rest. The little motor launch jogged up to the dock, and out of it climbed the big woman with the pink cheeks, her wide forehead glistening with sweat. In her hand, she held some papers which she waved at the 2 uniformed men standing nearby. They pointed to the customs shed. "Look at Mrs. Crazy," said Dr. Slade with interest. "Isn't she something? She's already been out to the ship and back." "She forgot her letter of credit," said Mrs. Slade. Dr. Slade looked at his wife. "How do you know that?" "She told me. She's a passenger. They won't honor the letter of credit on the ship, and she thinks if she can find a bank, she may be able to get hold of some money. It's a whole saga. I lent her $10. "You lent her money?" cried Dr. Slade, scandalized. Then, hearing his voice, he tried to alter its tone, and, with discernibly false gentleness, continued, "What for?" "She'll give it back, dear." Mrs. Slade's voice was one calculated to calm a small child. The woman was approaching them, panting. Dr. Slade had the time only to whisper, "That's not the point." "Don't you let the ship go off without me," she cried, shaking her black leather handbag at them playfully. Mrs. Slade smiled. "Oh, I think you have time." "I hope so," said Dr. Slade, not quite sotto voce. His inflection made it sound as if he had said, "I hope not." "Tell them they've got to wait," she called over her shoulder. "Ridiculous," said Dr. Slade. "I think she's rather touching," Mrs. Slade murmured pensively, looking after the retreating figure. Dr. Slade did not reply. He stared out across the still harbor, and there came to him the idea that it was sometimes possible for 2 people who were close to one another to be very separate indeed. His eye followed the fuzzy line of forested mountains above the landlocked harbor, and the word touching